starting in
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Veronica.
And I'm Studio Steve.
We are the Pod Sound School.
And this is PodBitz. PodBitz is a quick and easy way to digest the latest news and events in podcasting.
Learn about actionable tips to podcast like a beast.
Listen to our podcast recommendations.
And be in the know with what is up in the PSS community.
And we do it all live.
While the clock is ticking.
Unedited.
And raw.
So get those ears ready.
Crank those speakers up.
And let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of PodBitz.
Hello everybody, for those who are just tuning in, we record PodBitz live on Twitter, Periscope, every Wednesday at noon Mountain Standard Time. We post this episode on our podcast later today, and we also post the video of the live streaming on our Facebook page, Pod Sound School, for replay. For those of you watching us live, we'll be answering questions at the end of this PodBitz. And a lot has happened since our last PodBitz.
Yes, a lot.
Schools are canceled, and we have kids at home demanding our attention. Toilet paper and hand sanitizer have become a commodity. Countries are closing their borders. We are in either voluntary or forced lockdown in our houses. And on top of it all, we woke up this morning here in Salt Lake City to a 5.7 magnitude earthquake. I am very close to a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
I may cry.
Fun. It was a big earthquake this morning, so that was an early wake-up call, which was pretty fun. But, you know, throughout all of this, I think that what we're, focusing on and what's helping us during these times is to focus on service. And when we turn our attention from the negative things to the negative things that are happening to way we can help others and make others feel better, helps us to feel less helpless and more in control.
So this is my call for you. Your skills, experiences, knowledge, entertainment is needed. So don't stop producing your podcast. Don't stop producing your shows. And if you've been thinking about starting a podcast, this is the time. For those of you sharing information about the COVID-19, I have a little something to say, and that's to be responsible with the way you share this information. Make sure you use reputable sources like the CDC, and always check your sources and stick to the facts. Also, try to be a positive force, the light in the darkness, instead of feeding into the fear and chaos.
Yes, and talking about ways to help, this last weekend, we put together a workshop on how to get started with your podcast from start to finish. We challenged ourselves to do it in an hour, but we did it in an hour and 30 minutes instead. But it's a really great workshop. It's available on YouTube. It's our most recent video there on YouTube. So if you haven't started a podcast yet and you stick through that video and kind of make a checklist and go through it, you can come out of the gates swinging with a really cool podcast. We covered everything from branding, to picking a topic and a name, and I even did a little tutorial on a very inexpensive recording software called Reaper to get you started on the recording and editing, and suggested a nice cheap microphone that you can use. So
yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that workshop. Once again, just getting to action helps with what's going on right now. Yeah,
it helps a lot. And so it's just been a crazy week in podcasting. As you know, there's tons of podcasts all about the coronavirus. Everything's going crazy. So why don't we get into talking about this week in podcasting?
This week in
So there's
a lot of, you were saying?
So there's a lot of good things happening in the world of podcasting. People pitching in and helping companies, helping other industries, and Podbean has been working to let churches, synagogues, mosques, and other community organizations know about the option of free audio live streaming as a safe and easy way to run events and share information in the midst of the coronavirus concerns. Podbean Live is a free tool for audio live streaming. Users simply need to create a login, no hosting account required, and can live stream from any computer or their phone. Listeners can join via the free Podbean app.
Yeah, which is really cool. I love Podbean for this reason and for many other reasons too. Podbean is one of our top 5 web hosting options for podcasting. And this is just so cool. It's such a cool way to stay connected. And you can use it to create events. You can use it to start a podcast. All sorts of cool things there. Also, Rode, and if you're unfamiliar with Rode, they're a microphone company, big in podcasting. They have the Rodecaster Pro Kit and the Rode Podcaster microphone. They are offering schools the full Rodecaster Pro Kit and microphones and cables and headphones to the New South Wales. And so in Australia, they're offering that will enable teachers to quickly record lessons as podcasts to distribute to their students during this quarantine stuff, which is really fun.
What a cool way to help.
Yeah, that got us thinking too, like maybe there's a way we could do that for local schools.
Maybe there's a way we can reach out to the local district and help that way.
So we have the wheels turning ourselves, and maybe we can all kind of get those wheels turning in ways that we can use podcasting, because podcasting is such a great event that we can, not an event, but a great way that we can stay connected during these times. So it's a great way to network and stay positive and share stories and things like that.
And also, Pineapple Street Studios has come up with a great idea. The company has started a project called Stuck at Home, a podcast experiment for kids who find themselves at home social distancing. With their parent or guardian's permission, kids can record their podcast using a smartphone voice recording app or a laptop and send to Stuck at Home at pineapple.fm. Stuck at Home podcast ideas, guidance, and information can be found on their website, and we'll leave the link on the description of this episode.
Yeah, it's really cool. You go to pineapple.fm, stuck-at-home, which is pretty cool. I really like that idea a lot. We're going to see if we can get our kids into it.
Yes, we're going to see if we can get
our kids don't really think
podcasting
is cool, and that's probably because we do it.
Yes.
But, I'm like, we have all these mics and all this great recording equipment and everything. I'm like, I can teach you how to use this stuff, but they don't seem interested in that.
Yeah, for parents with kids at home right now, I feel for you. We're going through the same deal here at home, trying to keep them entertained and trying to give them their education and stimulation. And for teachers too, I just want to say thank you for doing the hard work and for providing so many resources to our kids. Thank you.
And I think this is just another area where podcasting can come in handy as well. There's so many educational podcasts out there available for kids that they can listen to and stuff as well. So why don't we get into This Week in Your Queue?
This week
in your queue.
All right, This Week in Your Queue. What do you got for us, Veronica?
So I have the Happiness Lab podcast with Dr. Laurie Santos. She's a professor at Yale University, and in her podcast, she'll take you through the latest scientific research and share some surprising and inspiring stories that will forever alter the way you think about happiness. She's changed the lives of thousands of people through her class, Psychology and the Good Life, and she'll change yours too. I haven't listened to the entire series, but I'm pretty excited to get into this podcast right now that we're kind of like...
Yeah, you need a pick-me-up, right?
Yeah, I need a pick-me-up.
And it's good I like that a lot. For my... in your queue this week, it comes from podcast Pontifications with Evo Terra. If you guys haven't checked out his podcast yet, you definitely should. He's one of our favorite podcasting personalities, and we've been seeing him at all these podcast conventions. Kind of feels like we're following him around. But his episode is, should you produce an episode about COVID-19? And does your audience expect you to say something about the pandemic? So in the episode, it's a really good episode. You should go listen to it. It's short and sweet, like many of his episodes. And I'm going to quote him from his episode here.
And I think that's one of the questions that we're asking as podcasters. Should we address that?
Should we address that? And he just said, remember that your podcast is more just the audio you put out on your RSS feed. And, to think about it. If you feel like you should, then go ahead. But go listen to that for sure. And let's get into...
Tip of the week.
Okay, so the tip of the week, when, we're all doing house cleaning during this time and finding those dirty drawers or those, being told by our significant others to get around to doing those projects we've been putting off. Why don't we do some podcast house cleaning and some SEO checking of our podcast?
Honey, I can't clean the bathroom. I had to do some podcast house cleaning.
Yes, exactly. Oh, no, sorry. I have to clean my podcast. One thing you can do for an SEO check is to search for some keywords and to start making sure that you have keywords in your episode description, and then pick a keyword for each episode title. There's some free tools that are great for that. Answer the Public, which you hear us talk about a lot. AnswerThePublic.com. You get 3 free searches a day. Google Trends is really cool. We've been falling down the Google Trends hole. Definitely go check out Google Trends and just start typing in your episode title. So if you have an episode about golf clubs, type in golf clubs and see the trends of how people are searching for that. And then Keyword Surfer is a free Google Chrome extension, and that is really cool. It's similar to Keywords Everywhere in that it shows you the search volume and a bunch of different analytics based off of keywords that people are searching for. And then just make sure that you choose a keyword for each one of your episodes in the title, and then in your episode description, make some nice, long, juicy descriptions. Mm-hmm. And then if you haven't started turning your podcast episodes into blog posts yet, go through and find your evergreen, really high-performing podcast episodes. Look at your analytics and the ones that did really well. Start with those and start turning those into blog posts. That'll help a lot with SEO and your overall podcast discovery. And then you can embed the episode from a player into that, which is great. And then make sure to include links to relevant pages in your content as well, too. That helps with Google. And that's our tip of the week. And that also sums up another episode of PodBitz, the bonus episode of Pod Sound School podcast.
Remember to share our podcast with your friends, with everybody who is interested in starting a podcast, and to rate and review our podcast at ratethispodcast.com/podsoundschool. If you're interested to take your podcast up a notch, go access our premium content at podsoundschool.com/premium.
Yes. And all of the links and resources, like usual, that we've talked about will be available in this episode's description. You can find at podsoundschool.com/podcast.
Yes.
And that's great.
We love you. Stay safe. Stay positive.
Yes.
We're here for you if you need us.
We're here for you. We're in this together. And happy casting, amigos.
Happy casting.
Sometimes all a school needs is a little facelifting. Laboratories functionally designed for the student's use. The new miracle of modern tools for instruction.